Hey everyone, welcome to Love Your Body podcast. On today's episode, as I'm scooping out some fight to get me through the rest of my day, we're going to be talking a little bit about one, we're now in the Get Your Movement In season, but I'll always with my journey, we talk about get your movement in, fight for what you want, love your body throughout. And the other day I watched, it's called Stutz on Netflix, and it's Jonah Hill's like documentary with his therapist. Not sure if anybody has like heard of it or watched it, or maybe I'm just like late to the game, right? But I watched it the other day, and it was so interesting because there was a part where he actually brought his mom on there, and they had a moment where him and his mom are sitting there talking with the therapist, and he said, she said to him, they're talking about how he was overweight growing up and how like his main issues came from being overweight. And basically what he says is like, or what she said was, which was so pivotal and so key, is that she basically told him that, like, yes, she knew he needed to lose weight. Okay. Like a doctor didn't need to tell her that. Like, but when they went to the nutritionist or whatever, they said, yeah, obviously he needs to lose weight or whatever. And, she then said to him that she said, I have dealt with anxiety and issues around my weight all my life because I have always been told I look like my dad, and which I could totally relate to. And she said, and so I did not know how best to help you besides just like getting through it, like getting you to a healthy weight. Like that was all she like thought about, which, like losing the weight, and which is not bad. She's like, I did the best that I could with what with what I knew. And he's like, no, there's no resentment towards you. Like, I don't view this as a resentment or anything like that. It just, this is what like messed me up, you know? And because what he said was, when I like when we did that, what that meant to me was, you everybody thinks that I'm too big, therefore I'm bad. Like I'm seen as a bad person. Like I'm not right. I'm not like everyone else. I'm out of place. And that was so beautiful for a man. I mean, millionaire, billionaire, I'm not really sure what his wealth is, but like to sit there and listen to him talk about being vulnerable about that his whole life, like, he thought that if he could be more successful, if he could do this, if he could do that, like, that he would find happiness, and he still did not find happiness, because internally, he still was carrying around, and they talk about this, like, the shadow, the therapist was talking about, like, this 14-year-old boy, that's his shadow that he is, like, has stuck with him his whole life, and he's never, like, that he's always, I guess not resentment towards that 14-year-old boy, but he just hates him. Like he hates how he was. He hates that that was what he looked like. He still views himself like that sometimes. So now we're dealing with some body dysmorphia, like, and which men do have as well. It's not just for females. It is not gender specific. And it is one of those things where, he just was so open about it. I really liked it. So I would really encourage anyone to go watch it. The beginning's a little bit slow, but when they really start going and he starts getting real, that is when I'm like, okay, like this actually was really beautiful to see, and some of the tools that the therapist had for him. But it was interesting what he said about that shadow. And, I think that for me, when I go back and I think about my life, I don't have resentments towards my parents at all. I don't have I think we do the best that we can with the information we're given. And whatever society, whatever the narrative is telling you that, oh, everyone needs to be thin and wear low cut jeans, or oh, everybody needs to be curvy and look like a Kardashian. You know what I mean? Like it's just what kind of plays out, right? And if you don't have someone who knows how to talk in a way, in the language and things like that. Like if you don't have someone who has just naturally been healthy all their life, like it is hard. It is hard to listen to them or to know what to do or whatever. And what was so beautiful is that, like, you know, the mom acknowledging that it was a her issue, that she didn't really love herself. Like she had always been told like she was too big or this or whatever, that she kind of projected that onto him of like, okay, well, I just don't want you to feel this anxiety that I've always felt all my life, which I get that, right? Like, I totally get that. Like, I never want people to have to feel like how I felt my whole life, and so I try to help people in a positive way and help with, changing the way that we speak about ourselves and how we truly look at ourselves and acknowledging that it's okay to not look like the photo that we have put up on the wall or on our profile or whatever all the time, 365 days a year, when we're sleeping, when we're hunched over, when we're bent this way, when we're doing this, when we're running, when we're you know what I mean? Like, that's not real. And so we have to be able to adapt that image and how we see ourselves in all different angles, from our good side to our not as good side to our backside, front side, whatever, right? And truly see ourselves. And so it was super cool to get to see that and to watch that because it really it really did reign true for me. Because like I said, I just when I look back at, like, the shadow type of moment, I feel like it was I always go back to, like, dance. I go back to dance where I kinda felt it like, unless I was in front of the mirror and dancing, I felt strong, I felt sexy, I felt beautiful. Absolutely. It wasn't until the moment the music stopped that I acknowledged, like, "Okay, I'm really out of breath," or I acknowledged that my legs were rubbing together and they hurt, or I acknowledged the bumps on my body, or, it's all the life stuff, right? But, like, actually dancing and sitting there and or just, in doing the skills over and over and over again and the jumps and the turns. I mean, literally, that's why, like, I mean, I danced from 3:30 to 9, on weekdays, and I, did dance team at school, and I danced on Saturdays. I mean, I never stopped because that was where I felt fulfilled. And as a child, nobody looks at that as like, "Oh, you're overdoing it," or maybe you're going too far with your fitness or whatever, right? It's just like, "Oh, what you do." And I've kinda just kept that same model as an adult. No, I don't, no one's forcing me to do anything. I pay for a coach. I pay for these things that I wanna be a part of and do. Um, I don't have to abide by them. I could halfway do stuff or not give my all, but I'm not my happiest when I'm not doing that, you know? And, um, and so when it comes to this get your movement in season, and now that we have the challenge started and everything, I'm doing the challenge with everyone too. It is not about, 75 hard, right? Where you just like go, balls to the wall for 75 days and then it's like, nothing afterwards or for whatever, it is still a balanced regimen. I still have a rest day. I still, just do cardio on certain days and do strength on other days. And that's how I program for my clients too, making this like a longevity, making this a realistic lifestyle journey and not just a quick fix or not just something that, everyone is going to tell you to do for 30 days or for this or for that. I think that you know, when we talk about getting our movement in, you have to have that love your body component, right? Because for me, if I see it all the time, I see people get to these extremes where they do work out all the time, right? And it's almost like they're hating themselves through it. They're hating the body they're in. They're hating, I'll never forget when I watched The Luckiest Girl Alive, with Mila Kunis, I think that's what it was called on Netflix. She is, like, hating herself in a Barry's boot camp class or something, because her shadow, like what that therapist talked about in the other Netflix, documentary and stuff was, like, her shadow was her being 15 or whatever, and, like, bad things happening to her, and her just, like, stuffing her face, like, eating pizza and, wanting to do those things, right? Like, it's just and not being able to, right? And so I look back at my shadow and I think about that girl who just felt freedom with dance. It's almost like then that's a double-edged sword because then the other part of it, like the actual bad part, I guess, what they were talking about in the documentary, like the part that can overtake you is okay, well, you're not, it's you're not doing enough, right? And and I don't know. I don't really have, like, a negativity with that, like, I have acknowledgement of it, I guess, but I really have just always tried to look at the positive of, like, that's when I was my most happy, and, like, movement is still when I'm, my most happy, and I keep rolling with that, and I keep on a schedule like I've always been doing, so, like, there's not really, any, like, a thing in terms of I guess, like, the shadow that I still see myself like that because I really don't, and I know that I have gone through so many different walks of life and have been in so many different body shapes and sizes, and that is what I think makes Dandy Fitness so special because, when you look at up to a coach, or when you look up to a trainer, when you look up to an influencer or whatever, and you can look at them and say I think what a lot of people like to do, they like to put people in boxes, right? And so I know they do, and so they sit there and they say, "Oh, well, she's just a runner. She's just a model. She's just a mom. She's just a this." And with me, it's like, what do you want, how do you do that? Do you say she was just a runner? Because no, I did that. Like, do you say she just flipped a 500-pound tire? Like, no, I obviously do strength still and heavy lifts still. Like, oh, she's just a bodybuilder. No, I run a successful business. Like there's so many things that that you can find you know, joy in and be representative as a whole of like who you are and not be just classified in the one extreme or the other. So yeah, so with the challenge, if for all of those listening that are doing it, I encourage you to each day to still have that notion of okay, maybe you start your day with apple cider vinegar and you do your fight energy booster, right? And from there, we do a walk or whatever. And so you have a schedule, you have a routine. I really encourage you to say to yourself at the end of the day, even if you didn't get everything done exactly how you wanted to, or the way you think you should, or the way your coach maybe wanted you to, or whatever, still find what that one positive was about your body or about your mental that day. So whether you felt, strong because you got movement in, right? Or you just mentally felt like a badass because you ended up standing up for something or, didn't let someone talk down to you or whatever it might be. Really have this be a part of your holistic triangle. Have the movement, correlate with the loving your body. And that will keep you going through this challenge. And that's where you're going to see success. I definitely know that for me last year, it helped me to be able to prep and get ready for, the bodybuilding show. And it's going to be doing the same thing again this year. Like this is a great segue into okay, really honing in on everything. And then as soon as the challenge is done and we do move fit, that's actually when my real prep starts. And so it'll be really cool. It'll feel very successful. And I'm excited about the move fit party, Urban Sweat. I'm excited, everyone got their body assessments done at NutriShop in the Gulch. So that went really well. So that way we have a base, we have a tool to see where we're at. Um, you know, I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be continually surprised on this journey through the challenge. And, and truthfully, this is your challenge. This is your journey. Like there's I didn't say the winner is the person that loses 20 pounds, right? I didn't say that the person that's the winner, eats 6 times a day. You know what I mean? Like this is your journey, like your challenge. Like make it your own. And that's what's so great, I believe in with this brand is it is about making it your own. Again, if you have a goal, like let's crush it, right? But if you're like, Danny, I just want to move. Okay, let's do that. Okay, if hey, I want to do a bodybuilding show. Okay, then let's do that. Like it just deciding that you're going to fight for something is huge. Not a lot of people have something that they're wanting to fight for. And, and I was watching a video the other day that and I think this ties into with the documentary and stuff that Jonah Hill or whatever, he was just uncomfortable in that body because it was made to feel like so much shame around being heavy and being obese and being overweight, right? And so it's like I encourage you to take back power in whatever body you're in right now, whatever shape, size, injury, non-injury, all the things, and really own that and be like, yeah, I mean, I am rocking it out right now at this weight, and I'm gonna be rocking it out maybe at a lower weight, or I'll be rocking it out, when I get my food with this, or when I start meal prepping, or maybe I'm rocking out because I actually ate vegetables for the first time ever. Celebrate those things. There's so many things negative about the new year and new you and everything like that. I don't think that I'm a new me. I am a a good like a better version of myself in terms of like my work ethic and my scheduling, all my things and whatever. But like, I still was great at the weight that I was at before, and I still was great when I did strongman. I still was great, and all these different times and all these different things. So it's not about becoming this like new you, and whatever. It is just simply how can I enhance what already has like God has given me, and really see it out and see my full potential, and like what we talked about last week about like not being fearful. It's like it all goes back to that too, that really the only thing stopping you is you. You can blame it on society, you can blame it on your parents, you can blame it on your, friends, whatever, because they maybe talk to you in a negative way, or maybe men, or maybe women, whoever talks to you, puts you down, or wants you to be a certain size always, or whatever it might be. Like it doesn't like all of that's irrelevant. And honestly, all of it is excuses. And so for me, like I think for a long time, like, especially when I was going up in my journey, I did use negativity to kind of fuel me because I'm like, "Well, nobody expects a lot out of me anyway, so, like, let's do this." Like, and, like, I'll show them, and now it is different in a sense of, like, I've been showing you that, like, I'm gonna work hard no matter if you're with me or you're not with me. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm assuming you're you're with me in support, of the mission. But, it doesn't matter because, like, I know my path and I see it very clearly, and everyone's success is different. Um and the people that you're looking up to on social media or online or whatever, I encourage you to really, you know, look at what they stand for, look at what they're offering to people, what they're saying, how they view themselves truly, right? Is it authentic? Is it real? Is it maintainable? Is it, like if I asked you right now, like, can you love yourself like through the rest of your life? I would hope that you would say, "Yeah, like, I really would love to love myself the rest of my life." Like, that sounds like a very obtainable goal, right? But if we're only negative about our bodies all the time, then we're like, "No, there's no way. Like, I'm never gonna love myself." Okay, well, then you're not. Like, so then that's not like then you're not ready for, that part of your journey yet or whatever. But if we sit in that fear, we sit in that negativity, like, then how are we ever gonna move forward, right? So I don't know. I really loved the documentary. I really loved, getting to see the whole point, and perspectives that they had, just the tools and everything. And I really do, encourage you in the new year, like, this is another thing too for my men listening as well. Like someone had told me, they're like, yeah, that they said something about that they cried. And oh yeah, I remember who it was. Yeah, they told me that they had cried and they hadn't cried in like 6 years. And I was like, "That's wild." I don't cry a lot, but, like, I mean, definitely I've been cried more not 6 years. I mean, that's crazy to me, but, like, me he was like, "Well, men are told that they're not supposed to be vulnerable, they're not supposed to do this or whatever," and it's like, "Oh my gosh," like, I feel like in 2023, we can maybe start, hopefully, and continue with this, opening up this conversation that this pressure that men have on to be this like the sole provider or to adhere to these standards or whatever, or to not cry, not show vulnerability. I mean, I love when a guy cries, like not when, it's a bad situation, but when they're like being vulnerable enough to be honest and be real, I think that's beautiful. So I think more people should. I think that women should be able to express their emotions without it being seen as crazy or nonsense, right? Or overreacting. And ladies, I don't again, do not say that you are too much. Like if you put it out there and you put these things out there like of what others think you are, what you think they think you are, or whatever. Like you are just continuing to repeat the nonsense. Like you're like, what did my dad say? It was like, I'm definitely gonna look it up because I can't remember off the top of my head. But he said something like, okay, my mind is a garden, my thoughts are seeds. I can grow flowers or I can grow weeds. Okay. So if you continually sit in this, like, I'm too much, I'm too much, I'm too much, well, then you are too much. Like, that's it. Like, you are. That is who you are, right? If I view myself as, overweight or whatever it is, like, in my mind believes that, then, like, I truly believe, like, then you all will always be in that state of mind. You are identifying as that. But it's like, no, you wanna compete in a bodybuilding show, you wanna overcome, any stereotype or overcome adversity, or, you wanna heal yourself without doctors and with things like that, like how I did, like, obviously I went to physical therapy and obviously I got massages and things like that. But like again, mind over matter, working through the pain, it wasn't easy, but like your mind is such a powerful tool. So whatever we let in, if we continue to keep letting negativity in or fear, or doubt, or whatever, like that is all you're gonna see and it's all you're gonna be surrounded by. So if anything, in 2023, like watching documentaries like that one that I felt like were real, was more real than what usually is on Netflix. Following people that are real about their journey, asking questions like reach out to me, like whatever you want to do. I mean, I do consults all the time about like helping people to understand how they could even start to get into a bodybuilding show, like to get prepare for that. I talk to people about like how they can love themselves more throughout their journey. I can sit and go through techniques and tools and things that I've learned. I mean, there's so many things that we can do. And it just takes time, and it just is one that, you can ask any of my clients, but like they know and they get that during their movement sessions. But it's a hybrid of both. It's a, we're not going to talk negatively about ourselves, and we're going to work through whatever we're going through while we're releasing endorphins and feeling our strongest and most capable. So when we walk out of here, we're ready to face whatever is going on outside of these walls. And that is what I felt like with dance and like my positive shadow, I guess. Like that is what it helped me to be able to handle anything like in life. It was like as long as I could dance, like the same thing with as long as I could move, like I was good, you know? So I hope that helps. For the Get Your Movement Challenge participants, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so excited for you. Keep posting. Make sure, you're doing your one time a week post about, hashtag Get Your Movement in Challenge. It could be you walking the dog. It could be lifting weights, like whatever. Your meal prep, and stuff like that. Like you're going around your kitchen, dancing, like whatever. I'm excited with all of that. Excited for that accountability group and everything, and just having them and being that support for them. And I have a lot of non-local people. So if anyone's listening that's not local, by all means, if you're wanting to know about the next challenge or when we're having a Move Fit event or online programming or anything like that, like please feel free to reach out. And yeah, I'm very excited, and I will finish out on a love your body note. Something I really do love about myself right now. I mean, I always say my legs, I always go to that, but I'll say my arms today because I never give them any love. And I had done a video and done a workout and the other day, and I was like, man, like I didn't even realize because I was so in it, but they look so like muscular and beautiful. And I was just like, girl, do you remember when there was a time that you thought that was impossible? Like, or you feared that you would never be able to have that. So you never really like strive for that, and I actually feel super capable and super just competent. And so, yeah, so it's a beautiful thing. So I wanted to share that today. So until next time.